SCP-999, also called the Tickle Monster, is a very friendly creature that can cure depression and PTSD. To the contrary, SCP-049 is a hostile entity that cures people from the pestilence by terminating them. So what would happen if the two creatures interacted? Would 049 become friendly? Would SCP-999 even survive in the first place? In this video, we try to answer these questions. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel with notifications on so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And soon we are exploring more interesting SCP scenarios like this one. To begin with, let's quickly remind ourselves of both creatures' properties. SCP-049 is a humanoid entity which resembles a medieval plague doctor. This entity is obsessed with the pestilence and claims that it needs to cure people from this dangerous disease. If SCP-049 senses this pestilence in somebody, it will approach that person and touch them. However, instead of curing them, 049's touch will instantly terminate any human. The plague doctor will perform surgery on that person, a procedure that, when successful, turns the victim into an instance of SCP-049-2, which are mindless zombies that will do whatever the doctor orders them to. So as we see, 049 claims that it cures its victims from the pestilence, but in reality simply terminates them. To the contrary, SCP-999 actually cures people. The Tickle Monster is a large, amorphous mass of translucent orange slime, weighing about 120 pounds with a consistency similar to that of peanut butter. Simply touching SCP-999's surface causes an immediate mild euphoria, which intensifies the longer you are exposed to the Tickle Monster and lasts long after separation. In addition to its playful behavior, SCP-999 seems to love all animals, especially humans, and has risked its own life to save others on more than one occasion. So we see why an interaction between these two anomalies would be so interesting. SCP-049 would likely try and cure 999 from the pestilence, something which may or may not terminate the Tickle Monster, and SCP-999 will try to turn 049 into a friendly doctor that doesn't attack people anymore. But of course, these are just assumptions, so we will have to theorize in order to see what would actually happen. As we already said, SCP-049 is famous for its counterintuitive way of curing people from the pestilence by terminating them, and the plague doctor's touch, which causes all biological functions of an organism to cease instantly, has never failed, because SCP-049 has eliminated every single person or animal it has ever touched. And of course, as you probably know, SCP-999 needs to establish physical contact with a person in order for its cheerful effect to take place, meaning that 049 will inevitably touch the Tickle Monster during this experiment. So does this mean that while trying to make 049 happy, we are going to lose the friendliest creature in the Foundation, SCP-999? Or even worse, that the plague doctor will perform surgery on the Tickle Monster, resurrect it, and turn it into a zombified servant that follows SCP-049 and terminates people on its command? Well, not necessarily. This is because SCP-049 only terminates the people that he regards as pestilent. This is because the plague doctor cures his victims by eliminating them. And needless to say, if you're free from the pestilence, then you don't need to be terminated, or as 049 would put it, cured. Of course, some of you might say that SCP-049 regards everyone as pestilent and as such terminates every single living creature it sees, and this is somewhat true. However, if there's one creature in the SCP world that is free from the pestilence, then this must be SCP-999. After all, being the child of the Scarlet King, the Tickle Monster is one of the most powerful SCPs in the wiki, so it would make sense if 999 SCP-999 was immune from this extremely dangerous disease. If this is the case, then SCP-049 will not need to cure 999 if it were to encounter it. In other words, it wouldn't terminate it. Alright, SCP-999 will survive, so it's probably going to try and tickle the Plague Doctor in an attempt to make it happy and cure it of its desire to attack people. But will this work? Well, SCP-999 can cure clinical depression and PTSD in a matter of minutes, and in the past has never failed to cheer someone up. In fact, the tickle monster temporarily cured SCP-682 of its hatred, which, as you all know, is probably the most aggressive monster in the Foundation. Of course, this doesn't guarantee that 999 will cure SCP-049 as well, because in the Foundation, anything is possible, but it's certainly as good of a guarantee as we are going to get. Alright, it's time to piece everything together and show you exactly how an SCP-049 versus SCP-999 interaction would look like. A D-Class was told to lead SCP-999 into the Plague Doctor's containment chamber using various sweets, which are the tickle monster's favorite food source, of course. This was successful, and SCP-999 entered 049's containment chamber without hesitation. The D-Class then quickly exited, leaving the two anomalies alone. SCP-049 immediately turned and looked at 999, which was emitting gurgling noises of excitement. The Plague Doctor appeared confused and stared at the tickle monster for a few seconds before saying, "What is this creature? I sense no traces of the pestilence whatsoever." Right after, SCP-999 approached the Plague Doctor and tried to nuzzle its leg. However, SCP-049 appeared reluctant to the idea of being touched by the tickle monster and avoided 999 by circling around it for some time. However, a bit later, SCP-049 decided to succumb and allowed the tickle monster to embrace its leg. Immediately after contact, 049 said, "What is this? I feel so happy." SCP-999 used this opportune moment to climb up 049's leg while emitting high-pitched noises of excitement. The tickle monster found itself on top of SCP-049's head, and the Plague Doctor sat down on the ground, placed the creature on its lap, and began to pet SCP-999. "Could this bizarre creature be the cure for the pestilence?" said 049 in a curious and joyful tone, while inspecting the material that the tickle monster's made out of. "Impossible. Never in my life have I seen such a creature." SCP-999 initiated its favorite activity, tickle wrestling. The creature engulfed 049 from the neck down and began to tickle the doctor, who started laughing. This continued for a few minutes, during which 049 appeared very happy. At this point, the experiment was deemed a success, so the researchers sent a D-Class to retrieve SCP-999. After it was removed, 049 immediately stood up and began hastily pacing around its containment chamber, appearing confused. The Plague Doctor then walked up to his belongings, took out his journal and began to write nervously, presumably about SCP-999. As 049 was writing, he said, "I need to conduct tests on this creature. It possesses astounding properties." The Plague Doctor wrote for a few minutes, and when he was done, he immediately requested that the tickle monster is reintroduced to his containment chamber. SCP-049 even began hastily preparing a few syringes. However, this request was denied, something which displeased the Doctor. Subsequent tests exposing SCP-049 to D-Class personnel revealed that the Plague Doctor no longer had the urge to terminate people and turn them into zombies, even though 049 regarded all test subjects as pestilent. Instead, the Plague Doctor frequently asked to be allowed access to SCP-999 for testing, claiming that the tickle monster may be a permanent cure for the pestilence, the disease that affects nearly everyone on the planet. So what do you think? Is SCP-999 free of the pestilence? And would the tickle monster make 049 friendly and harmless? Let us know in the comments. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more SCP videos, and join our Discord server if you want to discuss similar topics.